Hello, our fellow podcast listeners.
Today we will be telling you all about why the key wars between the French and the British that took place for Acadia happened.
Acadia was a French colony in northern eastern United States of America and eastern Canada.
Some present day areas of Acadia include Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and part of Quebec.
And did you know that the French and the British fought 41 wars for Acadia?
And not all wars were fought in Acadia. Some of them were fought in Europe.
Today, we will be discussing 4 of these wars in depth. Please note that these are a few of the many wars that were fought.
We will be only listing the main wars today, and each war had many important battles fought. Let's begin.
We will first be talking about King William's, but in order to understand these wars, we must first supply context about them.
King William's War, also known as the Second French and Indian War, took place from 1688 to 1697. It was the first of the 6 colonial wars between New France and New England, along with their native allies.
Neither France or Britain wanted to weaken their positions in Europe to support their war in Acadia.
The war was fought mainly by settlers and their indigenous allies.
New France was able to stop New England's expansion into Acadia.
In this war, battles were mainly fought in USA and Canada. In the end, British captured Port Royal, Nova Scotia, but they failed to take Quebec, which is a section of Acadia. This war ended with the Treaty of Ryswick in October 1697.
Now we must know why this war happened.
This war was caused because the treaties and agreements reached at the end of King Philip's War was between 1675 and 1678 were not met, and the French and the British were fighting over the fur trade.
Overall, we can say this war played a very fundamental part in the future wars to come.
We will now be talking about Queen Anne's War and what it is.
Queen Anne's War is the second French and Indian War fought between Britain and France for dominance in North America.
The war's outcome shifted the balance of power by granting Britain control over a piece of Acadia.
This war happened because the British feared France's rise and influence to Acadia.
They battled for many years, but eventually the British managed to get control of the important territory of Acadia and a piece of Newfoundland.
The British were slowly building their empire that we currently live on. We will now start by talking about the biggest war out of all the wars we will speak about today.
Father Rail's War. Father Rail's War, also known as Drummer's War, happened between July 25, 1722, December 15, 1725. This war consisted of a series of battles between New England and New France and its allies such as Micmac.
Part of this war was located along New England and Acadia, in Maine as well as Nova Scotia.
The root cause of conflict in Acadia was because of ownership of land which New France claimed up to the Kennebec River in Acadia.
During the war, Father Rail was killed by New England militia and the native population retreated from the area to Quebec.
New England took over most of the territory in this war, therefore making them the winners of this war. We will now be talking about why did Father Rail's War happen.
This war happened because Acadia was ceded to the British during a war. Then the British established the province of Nova Scotia.
For our last war, we will be talking about Father Le Loutre War.
Father Le Loutre's War, also known as the Indian War, took place between King George's War and the French and Indian War in Acadia and Nova Scotia.
This war involved British officers from New England. On the other side, Father Louis Le Loutre led the Micmac and Acadian warforce in guerrilla warfare against the settlers and the British forces.
At the start of the war, there was 12,000 Acadians and 2,500 Micmacs. The colony was in control of the Catholic Micmacs and Acadians.
The British made a great effort to settle Protestants in the region and establish military control over Nova Scotia, igniting a war from the Acadians.
During this period, the British settled 3,229 people of Protestants during the first years.
This exceeded the numbers of Micmacs in the entire region and was seen as a threat to them. The Micmac and the Acadians resisted the arrival of the Protestant settlers.
That's all the words we have to share today.
We hope you guys enjoyed listening to our podcast.
We really enjoyed researching this topic. We hope that you learned a little bit of history and the wars that took place many years ago, and hope you appreciate the peace we have in the present.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.